Have you ever felt like something around you is shifting, but you can't quite explain why? Almost as if your world is preparing you for a new chapter, even before you know what it looks like. These moments are not accidents, they are signals. And if you've been noticing them, it means your life is not standing still. It's moving, preparing, and opening a door you can't yet see. What if I told you that the very discomfort you're feeling, the restlessness that keeps you awake at night, or the strange coincidences showing up in your daily life, are not random at all? They're markers, silent signposts that whisper, you're about to step into something bigger. The truth is, change rarely arrives with a warning label. It creeps in through subtle signs, patterns, and feelings that most people overlook. But if you pay attention, you'll know that transformation has already begun. This video will reveal 10 powerful signs that your life is about to change in ways you might not expect. These are not the usual cliches you've heard 100 times. We'll uncover the deeper shifts, like why certain people start leaving your life suddenly, why the things you used to love no longer excite you, and why your inner voice grows louder when you try to silence it. Each sign carries a hidden message, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Think of this as a map, a guide to help you recognize what's happening beneath the surface. Because life doesn't just throw you into change without preparing you first. The signs are always there. The problem is, most people ignore them, dismiss them as mood swings, bad luck, or just another rough patch. But ignoring these signals can keep you stuck in places you've outgrown. Paying attention to them, on the other hand, can accelerate your growth, save you from unnecessary struggle, and guide you toward the life you're meant to live. Stay with me until the very end, because as we go through these signs, you may begin to realize that what you thought was confusion is actually clarity in disguise. What you thought was loss may be the universe clearing space for something great, and what you thought was restlessness may be the push you need to break free from a chapter that no longer serves you. If you're watching this right now, it's not by accident. You were meant to hear this message at this exact moment. Maybe you've been doubting yourself, wondering if you're stuck forever. Maybe you've been questioning whether the things happening around you have any meaning. I promise you they do. And by the end of this video, you'll see that the changes you've been resisting are actually the very proof that your life is about to transform. So let's dive into these 10 signs. Watch carefully, listen closely, and reflect deeply. Because if even one of these signs resonates with you, it means your future is already in motion. And the most important thing you can do right now is not ignore it. There are times when life begins to feel like a loop. You wake up, go through the same motions, and end the day feeling as if nothing truly happened. The days blend together, almost like copies of each other. You may even find yourself asking, was today any different from yesterday? That question alone is a sign that something deeper is stirring. Life is not meant to feel like a broken record. Yet many people get stuck in this cycle without realizing it's a call for change. When every action feels like routine, it slowly strips away meaning. Think about it. You might get up, head to work, complete your tasks, talk to the same people, and come home, only to repeat it all again tomorrow. At first, routine can feel safe and predictable, but after a while, safety can turn into a cage. That's when you notice the spark is missing. The things you do are no longer connected to passion or purpose. They're just obligations. The worst part is, you may start to believe this is simply how life is supposed to be. The truth is, repetition without excitement drains your energy. It leaves you running on autopilot. You're there, physically present, but mentally checked out. Even small things that once brought you joy, like enjoying a meal, spending time with friends, or finishing a project, now feel like chores. When this happens, it's not laziness, and it's not lack of gratitude. It's your inner self trying to tell you that the life you're living no longer matches who you are becoming. This feeling often sneaks in quietly. You might not notice it at first. Maybe it begins with boredom at work, or a sense of indifference in your conversation. Over time, that boredom spreads. You start to feel it everywhere, at home, in your daily habits, even when you're out with people you used to enjoy. What's happening is that your soul is signaling it wants more depth, more growth, more meaning. Some people ignore this sign and try to fill the emptiness with distractions. They binge watch shows, scroll endlessly on social media, or buy things they don't need, just to feel a spark of excitement. But no matter how many distractions they collect, the emptiness returns. Because the truth is, distractions cannot replace purpose. They only cover it up for a short time. The real answer lies in acknowledging that life is nudging you towards something different. When your actions feel hollow, it's not because you've failed, it's because you've reached the edge of a chapter. You've mastered this version of life, and your spirit is asking, what's next? That question can feel unsettling, but it's also a gift. It's the first whisper of transformation, urging you to step beyond the loop and discover what truly excites you again. There comes a point in life when the things that once felt so important suddenly lose their way. Maybe it was the chase for recognition, the desire to impress others, or the constant push to keep up with expectations. At one time, these goals gave you energy. They motivated you to keep striving, to keep proving yourself. But then something shifted. What mattered before doesn't matter as much now. The awards, the validation, the applause, it doesn't carry the same power over you anymore. This shift is subtle at first, but once it begins, you can't ignore it. You may find yourself questioning your past priority. Why did you work so hard to please people who barely noticed? Why did you spend so much energy trying to fit into boxes that were never truly yours? These questions arise not because you failed, but because you're growing. Growth has a way of shining a light on the illusions we once believed. The very things that once looked like success may now look like distractions. The late nights spent chasing approval might now feel like wasted time. And with that realization comes a deeper hunger for something real. This is when inner fulfillment begins to take center stage. Instead of asking, what will people think of me? You begin to ask, how does this make me feel inside? The focus shifts from outward approval to inward alignment. You start caring less about what the world says you should want, and more about what actually nourishes your spirit. A career that looked perfect on paper might no longer feel meaningful. Friendships built on convenience may start to fade. Even the possessions you once worked so hard for might feel unnecessary. This isn't you losing interest in life. It's you discovering a truer version of it. Inner fulfillment is different from external success. Success says, look at me, I did it. Fulfillment says, this feels right in my soul. Success is temporary. Fulfillment lasts. And when this shift happens, you begin to notice peace in places where there used to be pressure. You find joy in smaller things. You value experiences over appearances. You'd rather spend time with people who make you feel alive than impress people who barely know you. This transformation can feel confusing at first. You might even judge yourself for changing. Others might not understand why you no longer chase the same goals. They may question why you've become quieter, more reflective, less driven by the things they still value. But the truth is, you're not losing yourself. You're finding yourself. The priorities you once carried belong to the person you were then. The new ones belong to the person you are becoming now. And that person seeks meaning, not medals. That person wants connection, not comparison. That person cares less about applause and more about authenticity. There are moments in life when you feel something stirring inside you, even though nothing on the surface has changed. It's that deep, unshakable feeling that something is coming. You can't explain it to others because there's no visible evidence, but you know it in your bones. It's like standing outside before a storm. You can feel the air shifting, the silence growing heavier, the energy building all around you. This feeling isn't random. It's your intuition, your inner compass, picking up on changes that haven't yet revealed themselves. Sometimes this sense arrives as a quiet whisper. Other times, it feels like a constant pull you can't ignore. You may be going through your daily life, but somewhere in the back of your mind, a thought repeats, there has to be more than this. You look around at your job, your relationships, your routines, and even if everything looks fine, that inner voice keeps speaking. It says this isn't quite right. Something greater is waiting. This voice doesn't it lingers, steady and persistent, reminding you that your current chapter is not the final one. The power of this inner knowing is that it shows up before you're ready. You may not have the answers yet, you may not see the full picture, but the sense of anticipation builds, preparing you for a step you haven't taken. This is why it can feel uncomfortable. You're standing at the edge of what you know, sensing there's something beyond it, yet you can't see the full. That tension between the familiar and the unknown creates both fear and excitement, and it's in that space that transformation begins. Many people try to silence this voice. They tell themselves they're imagining things, or they distract themselves with busyness. But no matter how hard you try, it returns. You might lie awake at night replaying the same thought. There's something more for me. You might find yourself uninterested in conversations you once enjoyed, simply because they no longer match the future you're moving toward. The truth is, this voice doesn't go away because it's not a thought. It's a signal, a sign that your soul is preparing you for change. When this inner knowing surfaces, it often brings with it signs in your outer world. You notice coincidences, repeating numbers, or messages that feel strangely timed. You overhear conversations that answer questions you've been asking silently. You meet people who introduce you to ideas you'd been secretly longing to explore. These synchronicities aren't accidents. They're confirmations of what your inner self already knows. They appear to reassure you. Yes, something is shifting. Yes, it's real. Trusting this sense requires courage, because it rarely comes with a road. All you know is that the life you've been living is no longer enough. The small voice inside you says change is not just possible, it's necessary. And no matter how uncertain the path looks, you can't unhear that voice. It stays with you, guiding you forward, step by step, into the unknown that holds your next chapter. There comes a time when the very things that once lit you up start to lose their glow. The hobbies that used to fill you with excitement now sit untouched. The projects that once made you proud now feel like burdens. Even the relationships that brought laughter and connection can start to feel heavy, almost draining. It's as if the color has faded from areas of your life that used to shine the bright. This shift can be confusing, even unsettling, because you remember how much joy these things once gave you. But now, instead of excitement, you feel emptiness. When something you once loved starts to feel like a chore, it's not because you've lost interest in life. It's because you've grown beyond what those things once offered you. Growth often shows itself through boredom or detachment. It's not that the hobby, the job, or the relationship has changed. It's that you have. What satisfied you before may no longer feed your spirit now. This doesn't mean you're broken. It means your soul is quietly calling for more. Think about a favorite meal you used to crave. After eating it countless times, the excitement fades. Not because the meal is any less good, but because your taste has evolved. Life works in the same way. What once filled you now leaves you hungry. Not because it's worthless, but because you're ready for a different nourishment. The same routine that once brought stability may now feel like a cage. The same conversations that once felt engaging may now feel repetitive. The same goals that once drove you may now feel hollow. This emptiness often shows up subtly. You might notice yourself procrastinating on things you used to jump into with energy. You might find yourself avoiding certain people, not because you dislike them, but because the connection doesn't spark growth anymore. You might dread work that you once loved, not because you've become lazy, but because it no longer challenges or excites you. These feelings are not signs of failure. They're signals of transformation. They're proof that your spirit is seeking something deeper. What makes this stage difficult is the guilt that can come with it. You might ask yourself, why don't I love this anymore? What's wrong with me? You may feel ungrateful for wanting more, when you already have what others dream about. But the truth is, emptiness doesn't come from lack of gratitude. It comes from evolution. Gratitude honors what was, while growth pushes you toward what's next. The two can exist together. You can appreciate the joy your past hobbies, relationships, and work once gave you, while still acknowledging they no longer fit who you are becoming. When joy turns into obligation, it's a sign that your life is shifting direction. You're being nudged to explore new passions, to connect with people who reflect your current values, to find work that feels aligned with the person you are today, not the person you were yesterday. This stage is not an ending. It's the beginning of something richer, something more meaningful, something waiting just beyond the emptiness. Before big changes arrive, life often rearranges your connections. You start noticing more friction than usual in your relationships. Simple conversations may turn into arguments. Misunderstandings happen more often, even with people you've known for years. It's not that you suddenly became difficult or that others became unkind. It's that your energy is shifting, and the connections that once flowed easily now feel strained. This friction is not random. It's a sign that certain bonds are no longer aligned with who you're becoming. Old friendships, in particular, can begin to feel off. You might sit across from someone you've known forever and feel a strange distance. The laughter doesn't come as naturally. The topics that once united you now feel shallow or outdated. You may even leave these interactions feeling drained instead of uplifted. This can be painful, because part of you wants to hold on to the comfort of shared history. Yet another part of you knows that those connections belong to a past version of you, not the person you are growing into. The same shift often shows up in your work or daily environment. A job that once gave you stability now feels like a weight. Colleagues you used to enjoy may suddenly feel competitive, critical, or distant. Even the physical space of your workplace might feel uncomfortable. It's as if the walls themselves remind you that you don't belong there anymore. These signals can make you restless. You may feel torn between staying safe in what you know and stepping out into the uncertainty of change. What's really happening is that your inner world and outer world are no longer matching. You're growing on the inside, but your surroundings haven't caught up yet. This mismatch creates tension. Relationships feel harder, work feels heavier, and even your daily routines seem to resist you. That resistance is life's way of nudging you forward. It makes staying in the old chapter uncomfortable enough that you begin to consider leaving it behind. Sometimes this stage brings sudden endings. A friendship may fade without explanation. A job opportunity may collapse unexpectedly. A group you once belonged to may no longer welcome you in the same way. These endings can feel harsh, but they serve a purpose. They clear when certain people or environments no longer support you. It's because you are being prepared to step into circles that match your growth. This shift is rarely easy. Letting go of people and places you once valued can feel like betrayal, but deep down, you sense the truth. You are not the same person you were when those bonds were formed. Your needs, values, and vision for the future have changed, and when those evolve, the people and environments around you must evolve too. The friction you feel is not punishment. It's guide. It's the universe's way of saying, it's time to realign with connections that honor who you are becoming. One of the clearest signs that your life is preparing to change is when your imagination begins to take the lead. You catch yourself daydreaming more than usual. At first, it might seem like harmless distraction, your mind wandering off during work, drifting away while you're in conversation, or losing yourself in thought before sleep. But if you look closer, those daydreams aren't random. They're glimpses of a different future, trying to break through the routine of your present. You start imagining scenarios that feel more alive than your daily life. Maybe you see yourself in a new career, traveling to places you've never been, or finally pursuing the dream you buried years ago. The details of these daydreams might change, but the feeling is always the same: freedom, excitement, alignment. That inner spark lights up, even if only for a few moments. These visions are not just fantasy. They're messages from your deeper self, showing you the direction your life is meant to move toward. The interesting part is that ideas you once shelved, the ones you told yourself were impractical or unrealistic, suddenly feel urgent. You might remember a passion project you abandoned years ago, and now it feels alive again. You may recall a business idea you pushed aside, only to find it returning to your thoughts with more force. These resurfacing desires aren't coincidental. They return because you've grown into the person capable of carrying them out. What felt too big in the past may now feel possible. Daydreaming in this sense becomes more than escape. It's a preview of transformation. Your mind is rehearsing for a new life before you step into it physically. The repetition of these visions is important. When the same dream keeps showing up, it's not just imagination, it's alignment. It's a sign that your soul is pointing you toward the path you're meant to explore. Ignoring it only creates more restlessness, because deep down you know those dreams hold truth.
At first you might resist. You may remind yourself of responsibilities, of logic, of all the reasons why your daydreams are unrealistic. But even with resistance, the dreams keep coming back. They appear during quiet moments, in the middle of routine, or even as sudden bursts of inspiration. It's almost as if life is giving you gentle nudges, saying, pay attention, this is for you. What makes this stage powerful is the urgency behind it. You don't just think about your dreams, you feel pulled toward them. The longer you ignore them, the heavier that pull becomes. It's no longer enough to imagine. You begin to crave action. The ideas you once dismissed now demand space in your present. They want to move from your mind into reality. This is the turning point where daydreams shift from idle thoughts to guiding signs. And if you lean into them, they can become the doorway to the life you've been waiting for. Curiosity is often the first spark that lights the way toward transformation. You may notice yourself asking more questions than usual, not out of doubt, but out of genuine wonder. Everyday experiences begin to feel like opportunities to learn. Books, podcasts, conversations, even random encounters seem to carry hidden lessons. It's as if the universe is gently guiding your attention to the very knowledge you'll need for what's ahead. This hunger for understanding is not just about gathering facts. It's about expanding your vision of what's possible. You might feel drawn to subjects you never cared about before. Spiritual practices, psychology, personal growth, or even skills that seemed unrelated to your life suddenly capture your interest. You find yourself searching for answers late at night, diving into material that stirs something inside you. That pull isn't accidental. Curiosity is how your inner self prepares you for change, leading you toward the wisdom and tools you'll need for the next stage of your journey. At the same time, curiosity turns inward. You start to examine your own thoughts, habits, and patterns with more openness. Instead of brushing past your emotions, or repeating the same routines without question, you pause to reflect. You ask yourself why you feel the way you do, or why you've accepted certain limits for so long. This self-reflection is a powerful sign of readiness. It means you are no longer content to live on autopilot. You want to understand yourself deeply so you can grow beyond who you've been. Openness to new perspectives naturally follows. You become less rigid, less tied to the way things have always been. You might find yourself listening more carefully to people with different beliefs, exploring ideas that once seemed strange, or considering paths you never would have thought of before. Instead of fearing change, you start to welcome it, sensing that change is no longer a threat. It's a doorway. This openness marks a shift from control to trust, from resisting the unknown to embracing it. Curiosity also brings courage. The more you learn, the more you realize how much is possible. Knowledge creates confidence, and confidence opens the heart to explore further. A new hobby might lead to a new friendship. A single book might inspire a career shift. A small insight might spark a major decision. Every new piece of understanding becomes a stepping stone, leading you away from the old and into the new. This phase of curiosity is not about finding all the answers right away. It's about awakening the explorer within you, the part that is willing to venture beyond comfort zones, to test new waters, to see life with fresh eyes. That willingness alone signals transformation, because when curiosity grows stronger than fear, you naturally lean into discovery. And in that process, your life begins to shift in ways you could never have predicted, simply because you dared to stay open. If you notice even a few of these signs showing up in your life, take them seriously. They are not random. They are gentle signals that change is near, and something new is unfolding for you. This is not the time to dismiss what you feel. It's the time to pay attention, to lean in, and to let yourself move with the flow of transformation instead of resisting. Remember, life doesn't give us these nudges without reason. If you feel the restlessness, the pull, the curiosity, or the shift in your priorities, it means you are ready. This is your moment to grow, to expand, and to step into a new chapter that has been waiting for you. So trust what you're experiencing. Don't ignore the signs. Embrace them as confirmation that you are being guided forward into something great. If this message spoke to you, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss more powerful insights to help you on your journey. Your transformation has already begun.